they say is good about the West, that you can speak your mind, and freedom of speech is not existent. You're better off being in China.
It was the Republicans who got us out of slavery. It's the Republicans who freed us from the establishment. And it's the Democrats who always oppose these anti-war, anti-slavery, anti-racist, but they're the worst of them all.
And you get left people who are like, pedophilia is not a crime, it's a lifestyle choice. Or something.
Like, I genuinely believe, bro, that we could live in absolute harmony with the Russians.
Did you see the guy who set himself on fire?
That's mad, yeah.
Mad.
If the West, who is the enemy of Russia, places a politician to contend against Putin, then I could see why what happened would have happened. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to be careful about how you talk about it, because people are like, oh, you're a Russia apologist, but like, it's not that. It's just that a lot of this stuff, you're asking us to go die in a ditch, or you're asking us to send tax money and that, and then you look at it and you think, well, but you're stating what you're stating is not really true, because if you're saying that he just took out a political opponent, which I don't believe, I think he took out a Western a situation, like it's another threat, but whatever. Look at what Hillary Clinton or Biden, because I just view them as the same thing. Look what they're doing to Trump right now. Bro, it's mental. I think like you have the news going mad about how you got one politician blocking out a politician. And then you've got the news supporting one politician blocking out another politician. And they're written in the same paper. Bruh, it's crazy. And people are, oh, Putin, he's so anti-democratic. Bruh.
But Putin gets voted for the same. Anyway, he's voted in, you know? And if they say that it's an illegitimate vote, we can say the same thing about any other country. We don't know how legitimate the voting system is, you know? In any country. Like what happened with Trump.
Oh, no, I'm not even talking about the system of the voting. I'm saying that he basically, allegedly, he's weaponized the legal system against Navalny, because Navalny was in a prison where he died, wasn't he? And I will say this, we don't know for sure it wasn't Ukraine who killed him, or the West who killed him. All we know is he was in the can. But who are they trying to put in the can in the West right now?
Yeah, for real.
Trump.
And you know the mad thing about the Navalny today? Ukraine's top officer, who's our guy in Ukraine, he said that Navalny died of a blood clot. So backing up the Putin story, which is kind of weird, you know? You know, so you're like, hold on, what's going on here now? He might want peace now, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought after the Tucker Carlson thing, stuff will wind down, but they've wound it up even higher, haven't they? Like today they said they get Ukraine into NATO. It's like, what? Did no one listen to the interview?
I had to fact check that. Brits are twisting it a little bit. He said in the speech that they're referring to that it's inevitable that NATO will join. He didn't say they are going to join. He just said inevitable. So I'm hoping that the Brits are putting their own spin that, you know.
Yeah.
But they obviously, we shouldn't be joining NATO, but it's not a foregone conclusion. You just have people who are speaking in that like manner, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But hopefully, but still, obviously that it's crazy. It cannot happen.
It's mad.
Do you know what I'm also liking now though, bro? Like I've been looking back and I've been trying to look at any opinions that Trump had of over there in Jersey. And he actually seemed very fair in all of it. He even said this, like he bullies him. He's like, Bibi, I need you to slow down on those settlements.
As far as settlements, I'd like to see you hold back on settlements for a little bit. We'll work something out, but I would like to see a deal be made. I think a deal will be made. It might be a bigger and better deal than people in this room even understand. That's a possibility.
Like, obviously, he has to be careful. You can't stand on much. But he's a humanitarian, clearly, if he's saying you need to slow down. Which is basically saying, I know what you're doing is evil, bro.
Yeah, I saw a clip today of him saying how he goes, one side clearly doesn't want peace. And he doesn't say which one it is, but you know who he's referring to.
And he also refers to one of the geezers who you know he's referring to. And they're both the opposites of what we're told in the press. And he says the guy couldn't have been more loving. So you just think
yeah. You saw the same clip as me then, yeah.
Crazy, bro.
Yeah, he's saying one's a lovely, hospitable guy, and he's a great guy, great treatment.
I think Trump's too egotistical. He thinks he can get away with speaking to people like that.
Yeah.
And the problem is he can't.
Well, he should. He's in charge of the world's most powerful country, but...
He'd be bigger than Trump.
I know, but from a plain point of view, they're the most powerful country in the world, but there's a certain country, tiny little island, you can't speak to him a certain way or you're going to get slandered or thrown to the dogs.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Yeah. Well, I think the top power still is above America, but this is what I think it is. I think there's a power above it all, and they also run Israel, and he's linked to the power. And Trump comes in thinking he can change stuff, but this is part of the same mess.
Like you said, the power above America is globalist. Again, another thing you're not allowed to say now, because they'll smear you with a certain word. So globalist, that's the whole globe. They'll hop to wherever,
If you say that word, you become every other is. You become a racist, a sexist, misogynist.
It's all just like gaslighting now, isn't it? Like you said, you can't have a legitimate opinion now because they'll call you a Russian apologist. Like, what the hell is a Russian apologist? We've never been to Russia.
I know. And even I was thinking, I was reading something the other day, and it was saying that it all went wrong where they said politically correct. Like, politically correct is a term that got introduced in the mid-2000s that started on this term of them trying to control everything. Like, oh no, you can't say that, politically correct. And it became just commonplace where we were all suddenly like, there were certain things that should have been needed to change. And there were certain things where it was just riding it on a way that now, because do you know the latest law they've done? I think I sent you the link, bro, to Macron. Macron has made it that if you question public health official statements,
jail time,
you can get up to 55k euro fine and a three-year prison sentence.
Mad. So who does that serve?
So if you say, that injection you're giving me to stop that virus is giving me blood clots, and they don't think it is.
Mad. Bruh, it's crazy because that's what everything that they say is good about the West, that you can speak your mind. And freedom of speech is not existent. You're better off being in China, literally.
Bro, do you know what I realized? I've been doing a little research as well. It was the Republicans who got us out of slavery. It's the Republicans who freed us from the establishment. And it's the Democrats who always oppose these anti-war, anti-slavery, anti-racist, but they're the worst of them all. And they're being manipulated, and it's like this. I just can't get over how evil it is, bro. I cannot get over.
But then they argue now both parties are the same though now. They've got the same principles now, more or less. Except for obviously one person who's kind of going against the grain, who's kind of steering the boat in a way they don't like. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true.
Kind of like...
But I guess what I'm more highlighting then is the fact that the Democrats, who are meant to be the peaceful, all-loving, all-sweet, are literally the ones like, send your sons to die.
Yeah.
Like, protect democracy and put this guy in prison. Like, what are you saying?
It's like they're left-wing. They have the left-wing principles like giving everyone equal rights, maintaining freedom, letting people make their own choices. But we've got to have war. We've got to let people die, So it goes against the core principle, which is normally living in good health and peace,
We got to control the words that come out of your mouth, and they have to agree to our new idealism. We don't care if you love God or you believe in this set of biology. If you don't agree to this new terminology, you're done, boy.
Yeah,
Which I think is crazy. You guys were meant to be the liberal guys, and this is the thing, B. I feel like I'm pretty much a hippie, I would say. And I would say I was pretty much liberal, but I can't attach to anything now. It's crazy. I'm just attached to freedom of...
Yeah, I used to be like a lefty-ish, like with certain things, but obviously some things would go against what I believe. But it's like, it's like both sides have got bad things to them. So there's no central ground where you're like just traditional, but still you don't want anyone dying,
No, yeah.
Because the problem you get when you get like right-wing people, they want to go and mash people up in the streets and stuff, But they want traditional, They don't want people to mix around and get on. We want it our way, everyone else to get opposed. But then they have the traditional home thing, which is kind of like I resonate with, And you get left people who are like, nah, you should chop your kids' bits off. You could do whatever you want at any age. You could consent at any age. Some American senator came out today and said pedophilia is not a crime, it's a lifestyle choice or something like that. I was like,
bro, this is going to...
Where are we going with this?
Going to minor attracted person.
Yeah, MAP.
Bro, this what was before that point? Then you were saying about the right wing and the left. The thing is though, of the right and the left, the thing is right and left is kind of a term these days anyway, because I just think people who see the truth. Yeah, people who see the truth and people who don't. And as it happens, the truth has some conservative values in it, and it has. But the thing is, right wing and left wing, the fringes are both crazy. The right wing fringes are racist, and the left wing. But if you take the healthy of each, they're actually both sound.
Yeah.
But they don't exist anymore. And now what's happened is the actual true people who believed in right and believed in left have met as the group now, and you have like Andrew Tate and Russell Brand sat together, right and left. And that's because we basically, the core principles are the same. We want truth and we want discourse, and we don't want this establishment corruption.
Yeah, because you get those left type, which are kind of Russell Brand, I guess, which is like kind of like Antifa. You know what I mean? They hate the government, they oppose the government, but the same, they're kind of hippies. Like they want people to be able to make their own choices. They don't want to force stuff on people, but if like some right-wing guys go out and protest looking for people to beat up, Antifa like hippies, but they'll go and turn up and fight them. Like they'll be in a group to fight them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's crazy, bro. It's crazy. You know what? Kim.com posted something interesting earlier, where he posted that guy. Did you see the guy who set himself on fire?
That's mad, yeah.
Mad. Did you see the most American thing ever? The guy put himself on fire, and then while he's burning, he's clearly on the floor. Paramedics turn up saying, "Get a fire extinguisher, get a fire extinguisher," trying to put him out. The police are there the whole time with their guns pointing at him while the guy's on fire. Like, dead at this point. Until the paramedics are trying to resuscitate him, the American cops are pointing the guns at him. That's
Guys,
so crazy.
I don't know. Just watching this and seeing the video. What it was an American soldier who was over in one of the war countries at the moment. If you know the other episodes, you know who we're referring to. It's the Jersey war, and he's out there, and he's basically saying he doesn't want to commit genocide anymore, and he sets fire to himself outside the embassy. And it's quite powerful because obviously it's someone who is on the Allied forces in the more dominant position, like sacrificing their life. I don't really know that if that classes as martyring himself. I hope it does, but I don't know. But like basically referring to that video, and the guys are pointing guns at him despite the fact that he's burning alive on the floor. Like, he's probably not a threat to you at this point, bro. Come on.
Did you think? Do you reckon he knew he was going to die though, or do you reckon he's just going to make a big statement by setting himself on fire?
I reckon he knew he was going to die because, well, if he didn't, he's even crazier than. Because what's worse than burning alive is burning alive and not dying and being in this situation where you can't see, you got infected, get your limbs cut off.
That's quite a calculation to make, isn't it? With like a flask full of petrol, like, how do I know this is enough to kill me?
Bro, it just goes to show how emotionally either guilt-ridden he was, because he was actually a soldier there, and like that just goes to show how powerful it has been to him. So like, I wonder how many other people.
A lot of soldiers kill themselves, don't they? Like the rate's kind of high. They have a lot of PTSD. So at least with his one, he made a statement as opposed to just blowing his brains out in his house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also, there's a guy who did it in 1963 as well. The same thing. It was a Buddhist monk in where was it? I think it was Vietnam. But yeah, this guy literally sat there cross-legged, set himself on fire, but he did not flinch. He burnt in a massive flame. He did not flinch, just sat there meditating on fire. Nuts.
Bro, I don't think people should kill themselves, but
definitely not.
I respect that for the. If it can make change, I think that it will be looked at in a good way in the next life, personally.
Yeah. Like, I think those sort of things, those one acts of craziness could sometimes change the course of history. Like I said, there was that other reporter who flew to Vietnam, had a look around, came back to America, obviously against what the establishment wanted to hear. He said, we are not winning this war, on primetime TV when everyone used to watch TV, and the whole sentiment changed and America had to pull out. So, if this guy has that effect, obviously that's the effect we were hoping from Tucker Carlson, but it hasn't really changed.
Do you know that Tucker Carlson effect?
Yeah.
It has had stuff, because no one's mentioned the word conscription again since.
Didn't they stop the conscription thing before though?
For a British politician to come up and be like, yo, we're going to need you to fight this war. And yeah, I don't think that, bro, there's just no way in hell that people will go. Yeah, this is not like before. There's information is freely exchanged.
Yeah, but that's the same issue in Ukraine. People don't want to go. People are hiding, but the army driving around in mobs, kidnapping people from their houses.
Yeah, but I don't believe I believe that that's a hardline government that could have always acted like that. If our government started doing that, I think even the women would go out in the streets and start protesting. Do you reckon?
Well, history repeats itself. What were women doing during World War II when men were refusing to go?
What were they doing?
You know about them? They used to go around in groups shaming men.
Oh, I don't think they'll do this. If they did that, bro, like...
And that was before feminism. Think about it.
It's before the internet, though. Remember that, because the internet changed.
True that.
I don't think that anyone could say to you with a straight face that you're a coward for not wanting to fight in any of these bullshit wars. I'd be like, yeah, with no shame.
The day of those righteous... Well, I don't know if any war was ever righteous, but it's clear as day this one is not one to get involved in, you know? Anyone with an IQ above 50 can tell this war is a proxy war for control, nothing else. Like Putin, the enemy, has said he's happy to make peace.
And the thing is, the West basically wants to have unparalleled control. But Russia obviously doesn't want a threat to its country and its nation and its people. And actually, as a world, it's quite good having a yin and yang because it keeps you in check. This whole notion that they want to put NATO all over the border of Russia and then eventually, obviously, topple Russia, that will be what they do. The actual same thing that they're claiming Russia will do to us. Yo, be careful. They're going to go to Ukraine and then they're going to come further. No, what you want is you want Ukraine and then you want to topple Russia in the end because they're your major threat. But the problem is we need a major threat because that attrition keeps our guys in check.
You know what as well, what you just said there? It's like, I've noticed now, the oppressor always says what they do themselves, you know? Like, you notice that from Jersey, like, they have tunnels, they have this, they're killing our people, they're killing kids. Now, bro, stop talking about yourself. It's the same thing here, like, America's encroached all over Russia, surrounding Russia and China, and the Middle East. They have army bases in every single country in the world, bar like 5, and they keep saying everyone else is aggressive. Like, bro, you're the aggressor. You have no self-awareness.
Bro, UNRWA haven't got any aid since the 23rd of January to North Gaza, and they'll say stuff like, they just want to wipe us all out. Like, bro, no, what you're saying is literally what you're doing to them.
Yeah.
So you're right, what they say is what they do. It's literally the same old story. Like, the same as what they're saying is like about the Russia wants to come for everything. No, you're literally on his border. But what's happening, bro, Scott Ritter was saying something earlier, which also goes back to the conscription thing, which is a bit scary. But he said this. He said, here's something interesting, is that this is the first time where the wars that America is in, if they turn to hot wars, they cannot win them.
America can't fight and win a war anywhere in the world right now.
They cannot win any of the wars.
Yeah, mad.
So, like, they like bullying people to get their way, but right now they're in a situation where they can't back up what they're doing. So you best want peace. And instead of letting people go gracefully, they're getting desperate and doing more dumb.
Yeah. Rat in a corner tactic, basically.
Yeah, this is why nuclear war is very, very... Do you see Putin's flown in a nuclear expert? And obviously he will have people who detonate bombs. But the reason he does that is he's trying to send a warning. Because the reason that happened is because he wants us to know it happened. So he's trying to say your government's pushing it. Look, I'm even going to bring a nuclear expert in, so you can see, so you can stop playing around now. Yeah,
do you know what you said earlier was old news about Ukraine still involving in NATO? It's because someone circulated an old clip of Putin saying, well, if Ukraine joins NATO, it will be nuclear war and there will be no winners, you know?
Но вы понимаете или нет, что если Украина будет в НАТО, и вы окажетесь втянутыми в этот конфликт помимо своей воли, господин президент, конечно, не хочет этого развития, и я не хочу.
It's mutual self-destruction. But we're still prodding him, like, what?
Just in the news today, all over the news is Putin has flown in a nuclear weapons expert. Flew in yesterday. So you Google that right now, and then you realize that, okay, he's basically trying to send a message, and his words were this, that came in with this, that it was an advisor and just said that if they continue to talk NATO, but yeah, crazy.
You know what? Everyone was expecting the Tucker Carlson interview for Putin to come around and say stuff like, you're trying to have a war with us, look at the people suffering in your country, your dollar's going to zero, blah, 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 blah. He didn't bother because why would he want America to become self-aware and start fixing all their problems? Instead, he just tippy-toed around, gave a little history lesson. He knows where America's heading, and it's just self-destruction via their events across the world. They're wasting all their money on wars. Their dollar's appreciating like crazy. The only reason dollars survived for so long is because third world countries use it to pay back debt with real resources. So he's obviously not said any of the things that we'd hoped him to say, you know, because why would he want to, you know, wake up the American public? Why would he want to alert Joe Biden, like, this is what you should be doing, you know?
Yeah.
Because in the end...
I saw outside an airport, and they go, Biden responded to your interview. He called you with a rude comment. I don't want to repeat it. And he says that to Putin. And he goes, he called you a crazy son of a for whatever something he's done. Like, again, just they always try to act like he's not calculated and smart. They try to act like he's an idiot. Like, they tried to paint out Russians. They basically tried to make Russians Russophobia, you know, they call it. They just make people Russians he's a crazy idiot, he's this, he's that, they're the biggest threat to us. Like, I genuinely believe, bro, that we could live in absolute harmony with the Russians. It's ridiculous to think we couldn't.
Oh yeah,
and he just said, like I said,
Go on.
I like having Biden. He's controllable and he's predictable. So that's what they talk about us.
Oh yeah,
Like, double down. You already said it once.
Because I think he wants peace, and Trump will negotiate peace. Like Trump said, I'll get peace in 24 hours. So to avoid people calling Putin pro-Trump, he's obviously kind of, I prefer Biden, you know?
Yeah.
It's like a defense
Do you know how
mechanism.
as well? We know exactly how that conversation will go now since the interview.
Yeah.
Because that Trump isn't getting paychecks from Ukraine, so he'll just be like, yeah, no more money to Ukraine, bye-bye.
Yeah. That's
You
a
know,
high
you have
IQ
a
play
context.
from Putin, innit? Yeah, that was a high IQ play from Putin endorsing Biden, basically. Like, oh, you thought Trump was pro-Russia? No, I like Biden. Vote for Biden.
Yeah, and then he's going to get all those idiots. He's basically just done a Trump, what do you call it, candidacy.
Yeah, bro. And
Trump.
the mad thing is, if they try and pay out Russians to be stupid, imagine Biden is basically played life on easy mode, yeah? Imagine playing a game in easy. You just get through, you get given all the money in the game, you get all you're paid to play winner, basically. You know, like you pay Clash of Titans or whatever it was, that game you used to play. Remember you went and bought like 100 quid of a credit, and you surpassed the rest of the boys in like a day. While guys have been playing. Putin's I remember we were on holiday and he spent like £200 in that game.
Yeah.
And we were all peasants in that game and you were like a boss. So Putin's had to go through all the dirt, make his own money, play the game on hard mode. And what he's idiot versus Biden, who's come in stumbling with like an IQ of 10. He's got Parkinson's disease and every other senility disease in the world. And he's the smart one? What?
I was just watching on PBD. He was talking on all this, and I found this super interesting. So imagine if you took the Bidens, for example, because the Bidens are a great example, because I think they're probably the most corrupt presidents we've ever had, like openly. And people go, oh yeah, Putin's worth 200 billion. How much do you reckon Biden would be worth if he was in Putin's position?
Oh yeah, the country would be starving.
It'd be starving.
Yeah.
Literally, they'd probably have millions of people just famine.
Yeah, and it's happened before when America removed the Shah of Iran and put their puppet in. The whole country was starving, and he used to fly his dinners in from Paris on a jumbo jet every day, lunch and dinner from Paris while the country was in famine.
If these leaders will let people die so that they can funnel money through Ukraine, then of course they would be more tyrannical than some of these people they judge so hard in power. You know what I mean?
Yeah, what's his name? Julian Assange said that like 15 years ago, that all these wars are ways to funnel money out of attack zones into unregulated areas. Afghanistan, Iraq, all of that was the same thing. It's like a legitimate way to do it.
Literally,
so Putin doesn't have to do that. So Putin doesn't have to kill anyone to take money, you know?
Yeah.
But he's got a self-control where he can enrich himself, because he deserves it, obviously, because if you do a good job, you get paid, while improving the country, you know?
Yeah, if you can get your own personal problem away with zeros, because it doesn't affect it. If his job is making the country better and he's done that, you shouldn't be trying to scrutinize everything to try and make someone a villain when maybe their villains are more on home territory. Do you know what I mean?
Like, put it this way, mate. If I gave you Instead of 100 million cash, I had nowhere to put it. I left it with you. I would trust that you wouldn't steal any of my money or outright steal it. But I know the thought might cross your mind of, he's left a lot of money in my house. He doesn't need all of this. I should be getting rewarded a little bit just to look after his money. And he might take like 100 quid for some food or something. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of allowed. Like I'd price that in. I'm gonna leave 100 million at James's house. If he takes 100 or 200, it doesn't matter because I know he'd never steal the whole lot. You know?
I know what you mean. I still wouldn't do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No, but I'm saying most people would do that, wouldn't they? And justify it pretty easily in their head.
Or like a hedge fund takes a couple of % of their assets under management. That's just how it works.
Yeah.
So if he's running your country and your country is like a bigger, more heavy-duty version of a trust fund, and then you actually look at the GDP that's transferred through that country during his tenure, probably the percentage is less than, say, a normal trust fund. Yeah, like a assets under management trust fund. Yeah, whatever.
And if you
big investment house.
Yeah, and if you think about it, that country was piss poor when he took over, right? It was actually in ruins, wasn't it? That's how he got in so easily. It was in ruins, so he literally seized whatever he wanted, and he brought it up, and he's probably done a better job than most people could have. And he's proper high IQ. He's a spy, bro. He's a spy to president. You don't get someone smarter than a spy, do you? Like, you have to have mad IQ to get into spy, you see. You know what, Biden? What is Biden? I don't even know what he is.
Here's an interesting thing. This would be really interesting. They should tally up Putin's gain of wealth in the last 20 years and America's gain of debt in the last 20 years. And if Putin's country has not only got economically more stable, but his wealth has increased, whereas US presidents have all got rich and corrupt beyond belief, and the debt is almost gone, what, trillions now, is it?
No, it's 30 trillion now.
Okay, so people really need to get some context, because if you think that the country is in 30 trillion debt down to corrupt management, you could look at that's really what's been stolen from the USA.
27 of it was in the last 15 years. So they were at 3 trillion back in whenever, before the war.
So what's a measly 200 billion to someone who's done a pretty decent job of running the country? Like him or hate him, good or bad, whatever. What is it? Look,
it's mad.
I think we should...
It's mad, the level of corruption. It's crazy, isn't it? And
mental.
You know why they need absolute control over the whole world, not just a few countries? Because this debt was piled up for a reason, yeah? When I was like 16 or whatever, I used to watch these conspiracy things. And they said the debt's going to get so big, it's not payable now, let alone whenever it all goes bust, yeah? But what they need is to be able, the whole world to be in debt, and they literally just call it quits and create a new currency, one world currency. That was their goal, you know? And they're getting annoyed because now they're like, oh, Russia and China stop using the dollar. Shit. We can't just say to them like, oh, we'll forget this debt, you know, because they're getting rid of their dollars fast and, you know, at the highest rate ever. Because before, China used to buy dollars and hold them for their yield, treasury yield. But now China are like, they're weaponizing the dollar. They stole 600 billion from Russia, you know that, in foreign reserves. 600 billion from Russia.
I didn't know the amount, but
it's seized, and they were threatening to use it to give to Ukraine. What's that?
Also, we said about it in an earlier episode, that the problem with them doing that is the minute they showed that people couldn't leave dollars in a bank, regardless of whether that person is good or bad, you shouldn't touch the money because it's their property. So the minute you touch it, it destabilizes people's trust of the dollar being a store of wealth.
Yeah, it's the equivalent of a bank run. You know, like when Northern Rock ran out of money to give to people, or like there was worries about it not having enough money. People ran to the bank and took out all the money, and that collapsed it. And that's basically what they've done. They're like, oh, if we don't like what you do, we're going to seize your dollars. So now everyone's like, if we pull away fast, we're not going to get it. So you got to pull away slowly enough to, you know?
Yeah.
It's mad.
It's so ridiculous, bro.
So where do you reckon we are in 5 years? Tell me that.
Don't know. Maybe, hopefully not war.
Next year?
Next year? If Trump gets in, then I think he'll de-escalate. So that buys us some years. What about you?
Yeah, I reckon he might de-escalate that one, but they're still going to want a war, I think. I think the power's above him, you know? Do you see what Liz Truss said the other day?
No, what did she say?
Oh, this is mad. Liz Truss was like, oh, I thought I reached the top of the tree when I became the Prime Minister. But lo and behold, I found out I don't actually have all the power because I can get fired. But the chairman of the Bank of England, he cannot get fired. I couldn't do whatever I wanted to. I couldn't pull certain levers. There's other people pulling the levers. I was just there, perceived top of the tree. And you're like, and they asked her if she's a conspiracy theorist. She's like, no, I wouldn't say I was. All I'm saying is I got to the top of the tree and I couldn't pull levers that I wanted to. And I could get sacked, but the chairman of the bank can get sacked. And I was like, what? Liz Truss, Toff said that live on TV. What's that?
Is that the ex-Prime Minister?
Yeah. Isn't that mad for her to say?
I'll touch on politics. I can't remember the names of them.
Yeah, she did like 2 weeks stint.
She's basically admitted. Yeah, she only did like a week or two, didn't she?
Yeah, that's it.
What? She's basically admitting that she was being governed then.
Yeah, she did, yeah.
This is it. This is why it's such bullshit, because no one votes in whoever that guy is.
Yeah.
The guy. And this is the problem. Whoever runs the bank is the person who can call the shots because everyone works for the bank. And who owns the bank? It's the same names that we don't want to say on it, you know?
Speaking of bank, someone died today who started the first bank. And that was Rothschild, 87, he died today.
Well, hopefully whoever's his successor is fair. Because they're dangerous people, you know? When they have that much power and money.
I've realised why they're so powerful, because they have a mission and they only interbreed with their own family and their mission remains the same, you know?
What's the mission?
To control the world, and they're Zionists. They're like, I forgot what the term is, but there's some form of Zionists, and at one point they tried to take over America in like 1811. They tried to put them in debt and take over the bank, and they lost that war. And they tried to put them in debt so they can control it. America fought back, won, and they basically said, fuck it, because as long as we control the bank, it's fine. We control everything. We control the finances, that's it. We'll enslave them with debt instead. And that's it, and that's been their plan.
Nah.
Because
I've got a funny feeling, bro, that it's all going to get overturned and our team will win, that's what I reckon.
You reckon?
I just got a feeling that it's going to be like a movie. I just think that life's too wacky the way it works out. I got a feeling some mad shit's going to happen and it could get... But I got a feeling that we're going to be... I don't know. Who knows?
I think we win, but it's going to get worse before it gets better. Like, totally worse from what I've read anyway. You know?
Yeah.
They're like... You could already see they're not stopping at anything to get what they want, you know?
Yeah.
It's by any means necessary. They don't care.
Let's see what happens.
Like, there's so much... Like, the level of poverty and stuff in America is crazy. Even England, like, cost of living and all that, but they're still focused on war, you know?
I saw Rishi, I'm going to have to go in a sec. I got to say bye to my guys who are leaving the office, but I'll say this, is I saw Rishi Sunak was on TV talking about how there's an epidemic of people using mobile phones in schools, and they want to ban the mobile phone use in schools, as if that couldn't be local policy while you've got knife crime running out of its ass in London. Like, you do these non-issues. No one's really worried about an epidemic of phones in schools, you ridiculous rat.
Yeah, there's a whole genocide going on that he's probably seeing on his phone every day. He's not bothered about that.
They're getting rich from the sale of arms into the genocide.
Yeah, and like you said, they always combat these non-issues because it's like, oh look, we did this. Like, it's just a distraction. It's all a facade. They don't really want to solve real issues. Because it keeps us infighting, doesn't it? All these little things keep us infighting.
Yeah, they need us infighting.
Like, why do you even need why is it a government decision to ban phones at schools? Like, school could do that. It's not a government decision. Is it?
Ridiculous. Joke, man.
Sweet.
Those guys are rats.